What's up, homies? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about how entertainment is ruining or negatively affecting your creativity. So let's get right into it. So I tend to notice all these things mostly in myself, and I'm highly inclined to believe that I'm not that different from like that average person. So I would like to at least kind of assume that to a degree, most people are somewhat similar to me in some ways, especially with the fact that technology is very prevalent in my life, which I think is super common in today's day and age. But I digress. So here's my theory, right? So if you go all the way back to the times with Thomas Edison, I know, I get it. Don't come at me. I know that Thomas Edison isn't the one who like made the light bulb and all that crap. I know someone else discovered this before this person. Whatever. I'm giving you the most commonly understood examples. All right. So let's go all the way back to something like Isaac Newton, who apparently you had an apple fall on his head, whatever, and then he started thinking about how the apple fell down. Why did the apple fall? And thinking about gravity, right? Okay, so that makes sense when you think about it, and you tell someone that, like, yeah, they had nothing to do back then. There was no technology. Like, they didn't have anything to do other than think, right? Okay, so a big reason why that doesn't happen as much today is because we are so sucked into the entertainment, and the way that our minds tend to work is chain reactions, right? So something happens to us, we see it, makes us think about something, which causes us to, depending on our own experiences, think about maybe another specific event that happened, which can chain reaction to our thoughts or feelings on the event, whether we want something like that to happen again, whether we're afraid that that's about to happen again right now, we're excited about if that's going to happen again right now, etc. So our thoughts tend to be very reactionary in the way that when information or an experience is happening in front of you, it makes you think about either past experiences, potential future experiences, but it makes you think about things in a chain reactionary way, right? That can spark all kinds of thoughts and potentially ideas. That's a good thing. I think like one of the most beautiful things about the human mind is our ability to come up with ideas and idea generate, come up with new solutions and new forms of even entertainment, but just coming up with new things, right? It's a beautiful thing. But what happens if, hypothetically, Isaac Newton had an apple fall on his head? And he's like thinking about it, huh? And then all of a sudden a bird comes and poops on his head. Why is he thinking about that? He's, what's up with that bird? What's up with that? And someone comes and just smacks him in the face. Then he's going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's this about? So my point is, say another thing happened right after that was very attention grabbing and sparked his thoughts. And then another thing happened immediately after that, very attention grabbing, sparked some thoughts. Another thing happened after that, and very attention grabbing, sparked his thoughts. Do you see what I'm getting at here? So that is what happens with us when we are on technology nowadays, or it's extremely common. Like, I guarantee you the average person who is scrolling on social media is not scrolling on, and this is specific to short form content or like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, or TikTok, whatever, where you look at one form of content and you sit there and you're like, wow, that really makes you think. Turns off your phone. I'm going to sit here and think about that. That's so interesting because XYZ, like, no, most people, that is literally, it is not wired in our brains to normally act like that for most people, or the social media is specifically created. Think about it. It is literally made so that you do not do that, because what happens when you get off the app? It's less money they're making. It's less time people are spending on their app, potentiating how much more future revenue they can get, right? So it's designed in a way to keep you scrolling and keep you locked in to the app. Get locked in here. And that's good for them because they're making money off it. But think about it in the same way with the Isaac Newton example. So say you see some kind of content that's inspiring, or it almost brings a tear to your eye. It's something beautiful. It makes you think about life, your life. It makes you think about, things going on in your life and the people around you. It gives you some ideas, inspires you on something, a potential, you're like, wait a minute, I could come up with this future product, or this, so I can come up with something here. This could be something creative that I can make of it. But that happens, and you go to the next post. Even if that one's not that attention grabbing, it's still in the back of your mind. Oh, I should write that down, or this is a good idea. I want to save this. I want to use this. This could be something I could use later in life. But as you get something very attention grabbing, what's going to happen? Boom, eliminated from your mind. Maybe it's still a little bit fresh. It's still a little bit there, right? Keep scrolling. Boom, another impactful, mentally speaking, event has happened. Your brain has experienced something. Your brain is going to be in reaction to what is happening in front of it. And whereas back then it used to be specific things that were happening in front of you in the real world that limited the possibility and limited the likelihood that these ideas that we were able to generate would be interrupted by another big event. Because the thing is technology is a lot of the times, especially on social media, is made to show us very surprising, very engaging things that are not common, things that are impactful, things that drive a lot of people to look at it, because that's what keeps people sucked in. So, whereas if you didn't have your phone or any of that, you are extremely limiting how much the likelihood is, or you are lowering the likelihood that you're going to see something that's going to distract you from what you're thinking about, right? So, I say all this to say, us viewing this social media or viewing some kind of entertainment that is going to drive you to go to another piece of entertainment or another piece of media, that is going to significantly limit your ability to be creative for a majority of people. And emphasis on that, because there's always going to be a caveat. There's always going to be the exception or the anomaly of people that they can scroll all day, and then like a combination of different ideas come to their mind, and then boom, they get out of my phone, I'm going to make some art, I'm going to boom, 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 whatever. That's going to happen to some people, but a majority of people, I highly doubt, are like that. Our brains are sucked into what's in front of us. And when you are scrolling on social media, or you are engaged in some kind of entertainment or content, a lot of the times it's going to prevent you from being creative, because you are not giving your brain the space or time to think about what you have seen. Think about it like this. This is like the best example I can think of, right? So a big critique that I have with school and the school system, especially in college, is that the problem with the way that the classes are set up and the things that we learn in class are set up is that, yes, they're good for learning a lot of information very quickly, but a lot of people don't tend to retain the information because they don't get the time to. And why is that? It's because they're trying to get a whole semester, as in the first half of the year and then versus the second half of the year, condense a whole class into one semester. Yeah, that's a lot of time, right? Well, if you were to split that semester, or if you were to split that class year into 2 semesters, whereas it's something more similar to high school or a lower grade in school, you're going to retain a lot more information because you have more time to retain it. You have more practice with it, and you have more mental free space to allow those things to absorb and allow you to think. So the reason I say this is a really good example is that a big critique I have with the classes is that because of how condensed the information that they are trying to teach you is, it prevents you from even not only thinking of new ideas, but it prevents you from elaborating on the information you're currently learning, because of the fact that you have to think of it right now. Okay, this week I have a unit test. I need to practice for my exam. Keep repeating everything that I'm learning. Once I've learned all my different lectures for the week and I've practiced, I'm going to hopefully pass my exam, and then we immediately move on to the next thing. And the reason that is so, I think, counterintuitive in the long run is that not only do we lose the ability to retain the things that we learned in this last week or last unit, whatever, but we also lose the amazing ability to come up with new ideas and generate new thoughts and potential possibilities where we become really creative and we could potentially come up with whole new branches of study. We lose that ability by the fact that we are just focused on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. This is what's going to get me closer to graduating. This is what's going to get me my occupation. Yes, that's good if you have the specific end goal and that's all you care about. But that's how we limit our idea making. That is how we limit our creativity, is because we are so focused on what's right in front of us right now and then moving on right to the next thing that we're not giving our brains time to process new potential ideas or just even soak in the information we're watching in. I guarantee you, if I asked you, like, if you're scrolling on TikTok, right? You say you're scrolling, you're looking at some videos, you find one really funny video, you send it to a few friends. Yeah, like 5 minutes from now, I could probably ask you, oh yeah, what was that one TikTok you sent me? Oh yeah, so this is what happened, da 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 da. Okay, maybe you don't have any thoughts and haven't elaborated on it, but you remember it. So I'm gonna ask you 10 months from now, I'm gonna say, hey, remember that one TikTok you sent me with that one dude? Huh? Wait, I don't know, I don't remember. I've sent so many TikToks. I've sent so many videos. I've seen so many funny videos since then. Guess I don't remember it. Okay, maybe it's not that big of a deal because it's one thing out of the hundreds of things that you're seeing or sending. But that just shows that you seeing so much content is really limiting what you can extract from that. Because the beautiful thing about media is that you can extract lots of ideas and metaphors and potential new products or things of that sort. Like, you can elaborate on those, build something in your mind, and bring it into the real world just by viewing something. And that's awesome. But when we absorb so much of the content, we're not able to do that because we're literally not giving our brain time. Our brain needs time to absorb information. Some people it's faster, some people it's slower. But we need time to absorb the information and think about it. Some people it's the other way around. They need to think about it and it helps them bounce off ideas, come up with new stuff, and then they absorb it. But either way, you need time to do that. And you are not giving your brain time to do that when you consistently scroll. And this isn't just a big thing to say, oh, scrolling is bad, because some media can be good. Like I said, it can spark ideas for new things. But when we don't give our brains the time to be able to absorb this information and come up with new ideas, it's not going to happen. And this is going to be for a majority of people. Yes, there's outliers, but a majority of people don't work like that and don't operate like that. But the thing is the industry doesn't really care. Come on, like, as long as they're not doing something that is inherently evil, they're not hurting people directly, they're not harming people in some way, it's not bad then to them. So they're making money off it, and they're going to continue doing what's going to benefit them, which is making money, which is by keeping people sucked in. People will say they're just a platform where I can upload videos. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, the people that are in the wrong are the people who upload bad content and stuff like that. But they're facilitating it, and they know that if they make the algorithm a specific way, it'll keep people sucked in long enough, which they know will affect your day-to-day life. But they're not responsible for it. So, at the end of the day, it's going to be not them that are going to take the fall for it. It's going to be the people that are uploading on it. But I digress. That's a whole nother thing. But my main point here is that media is significantly limiting your creativity. And if you really want to be able to stop that, one major way that you can do it, if you have self-control, and that is a big thing on this, because I'm not going to lie, me personally, I don't have a lot of self-control when it comes to that. I have extreme difficulty in just watching, especially short-form content. That is like the worst for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people. But I don't have a lot of self-control to just scroll a few times, look at a few things, just get off and then stop without it being deleted off my phone. I literally have to go on whatever social media for whatever purpose I have and then delete it so that I don't get right back on it. And even then, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, let me re-download it for something really quick. But I literally have to have it deleted off my phone because of how like addicting and how much it sucks you in it is. But if you want to do this without completely eliminating your social media and allow your brain space to be creative and have more ideas and focus on the real world around you, even, is to just maybe even limit yourself to longer form content or limit how much at a time you are absorbing. But in general, y'all, I want to encourage you to try to be a little bit more mindful and just notice the positive impact it has. It literally, I noticed it makes me happier enjoying my day-to-day life versus where it will almost cause this level of anxiety. Like, I swear to you, if I go do the dishes downstairs in a week where I generally spend more time on my phone, I will get anxious or a little bit more anxiety or just feel like I need to rush and get through it really quick if I try to do the dishes without listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video or something like that. And that sounds so crazy because if I go like a whole week without any social media and I'm just focused on the only thing I might absorb like media-wise is like music and am off my phone for the most part and I'm getting enough sleep and stuff like that, when I'm in a healthy habit pattern, I tend to be able to do monotonous activities or ones that would seem boring without having to overload my brain with content. But the thing about the content that continuously draws and sucks you in is the fact that not only is it very engaging, but as soon as you stop engaging it, it almost makes you like feel like you need it to do things that are boring or that aren't as engaging. So activities that may be seen to have no kind of additional benefit if you were to be paying attention to them can make you feel that you need some kind of content along with it, like something like eating, where do you really need to watch a YouTube video while you're eating? A lot of times it'll make you feel that way because you feel like you're getting no additional benefit for the fact that you are doing something without content. Like if I'm eating, what else do I have to gain by not like engaging in content or not absorbing content? Like there's no additional benefit, so why would I do it? I might as well just, right? I might as well absorb content. But the thing is people aren't able to see this in the long term, that me constantly doing this in multiple different decisions in my day, every single day. Like say that I wake up, I eat breakfast, I watch a YouTube video. On lunch, I watch a YouTube video while I eat. Dinner, I watch a YouTube video while I eat. Say I take like 20 to 30 minutes while I'm eating. Let's just say it's 20 minutes and I really take my time. That's 60 minutes in a day that I'm spending watching YouTube videos. Not to be like, oh, you know what you could be doing with that 60 minutes? You could be starting a business. No, but still, think about that. That's like an extra hour a day. That's if you did that every day a week, hypothetically. Let's just say 5 days a week. That's 5 hours of watching videos that could have been free thinking, right? You could have spent that time just your brain relax and just letting it freely roam about. And you could say, well, there's nothing I could have thought of in that lunchtime. Like, what, am I going to come up with the next big idea? You don't know, but you aren't going to know. I'm telling you, you aren't going to know if you are scrolling because you're engaged in something else. Your brain isn't allowing itself to be open and free flow and think of ideas when you're already so focused on something else. So I just encourage you to try to take more opportunities, more intentional times where you're not as engaged on your phone. You're not as engaged in absorbing media or watching TV or watching movies while you're doing other things. Try and take more time where you are going to have just free space from your phone. And things are going to be boring. I'm not going to lie, especially at the beginning when you first try it, it's going to be extremely excruciatingly boring. And it's going to feel like you're getting no gain from it. But once you start to do it long enough, your brain has had time to almost process things because your brain is like a machine. Like when you don't give it the time to process, this is literally how your brain works. When you don't get enough REM sleep, rapid eye movement, which is the time of the night when you dream, if you don't get enough REM sleep for an extended period of time, whether that be because of the medication or over-the-counter pills or medications you take before you go to bed or not, if you don't get enough REM sleep for an extended amount of time and then one night you set yourself up for conditions where you get REM sleep, you will have insanely vivid dreams. And you know why that is? It's because your brain is literally trying to catch up with how long it's been since you've gotten proper sleep or proper REM sleep. So it's trying to get all the REM sleep it can at once in one big burst intentionally, and you have all these crazy vivid dreams. And that happens for people that like drink alcohol every night to go to sleep or smoke marijuana when they go to sleep. And then they're like, oh my God, this is what happens every time I don't smoke. Oh, I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. And the same thing happens when, and it's almost an opposite way, when you get off of your phone while you do things where you would normally be on your phone, or you don't engage in content or indulge in content when you normally would. Your brain's going to be in the opposite way. It's going to be extremely bored. And my theory on that is it's literally, it's still, you've absorbed so much content over such a long period of time. It needs time to process that. Like your brain isn't just some machine that gets everything done instantly. It takes time. It takes days, weeks, months, years. And not to say that like it's going to take you 2 years of watching no YouTube videos for your brain to process all the garbage or entertainment that you've consumed over the years. But I encourage you to take a little bit more time, like not just one day, not just 2 days, but at least a week or two, where you intentionally limit the amount of content you would normally consume at times where you're really not doing much otherwise, or where you're not fully mentally engaged in something and your brain can just think. Take those times to just let your brain go and let your brain think. It's going to be boring, especially at first, but I promise you eventually it will start to help your brain come up with ideas again. And it's almost a way of fixing and starting, getting this machine in the groove again of how we were designed, which is to come up with novel ideas and come up with solutions and creative, potential things that you could, make in this world or do with others, etc. And that's going to depend on who you are as a person. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely be sure to let me know if you enjoyed this, if it was helpful for you, like to have a conversation about it. Let me know recommendations you have, but I'll see y'all homies later. Peace out, gamers.